What do you want me to do? You just want me to hit you?
Come on, do me this one favor.
Fight Club, David Fincher's beautiful blood and guts spectacular, at least supposed to me. Well, it did a couple of things. A, it helped a generation of men explore the concept of masculinity and our primal nature. Also inspired some guys to hit the gym.
Is that what a man looks like?
And it made a star, a controversial star, of Chuck Palahniuk. Chuck, who wrote the bruising novel on which the film was based, is one of those authors who knows how to get people talking. And adjectives stick to his work like burrs on a dog. Gory, shocking, pornographic, brutally funny. What's his story? Well, it reads like a Shakespearean tragedy. His grandfather murdered his grandmother, then turned the gun on himself. Years later, Chuck's own father was also murdered, so it is no surprise that his novels explore the dark and often scuzzier underbelly of our culture.
I am the backbone of colonial America.
With a dose of pitch black humor, because let's be honest, how else can you get through it? And when he was in the throes of losing his mother to cancer, Chuck unleashed that pain and transformed it into the pages of his new novel called Doomed, about a 13-year-old girl who writes from the dead.
Chuck Palahniuk, everybody. How are you? I'm good. I'm good. You are, God, you look so comfortable, man. Would it be better if I put my pajamas on?
Please.
I can put pajamas on if you want.
You can go commando if you want.
I often do, but for the purposes of this network and their license, that would be bad. That would be really bad.
I thought Canadian TV could do anything.
We really can, but I have found the Full Monty here still freaks people out on the prairies. So I don't know what to...
Pretend it's a Merchant Ivory movie and you're Julian Sands. Then it's art.
That's true. What do you... Listen, after the commercial break, I'm going to put my pajamas on, okay?
Please.
I'll do that in the second half of this interview. If in the past, the previous book, it's like Judy Blume meets Dante, what is this?
This is like the Bible and Darwin. Because in a way, they're both travel writing. It's just going somewhere. It's the Seven Tribes or it's the Voyage of the Beagle. Yeah. It's just different kinds of travel writing.
And this book is about being where you're at.
No, it's about getting to heaven.
Well, there's a lot of waiting in this book, though, right? They'll talk with the little girl just waiting around. I mean, just for people who haven't had a chance to read it yet, walk us through the story of this.
So, the real story or the metaphorical story?
Well, I want the real story, and then we're going to go to the metaphor.
Okay. My family left the Catholic Church in the 70s when my parents divorced. And at the time, we loved that Haley Mills movie, The Parent Trap, because it was about children tricking their parents into falling back in love with each other. And in the 15th century, there was a line of theology where priests decided that if they could trick God and the devil into loving each other the way that they had before mankind, if they could get God and the devil together, they would resolve all conflict throughout creation. And it was a great, beautiful idea, but somehow they couldn't pull it off. So in 3 books, I want to pull off that theological idea of resolving all conflict in the same way that I hoped that I could trick my parents into loving each other after their divorce.
Did you try all those shenanigans to trick your parents like they did in The Parent Trap?
We tried everything. But I've got a really good way of getting God and the devil back together. It's a foolproof idea.
For the next book?
The next book.
Okay, so where are we at the stage then?
Things have to get worse before they get better.
Right.
So this is the stage where they get really, really worse.
You've got this little girl, these little stories, these little, almost like diary entries in a way, or messages to somebody.
Blogs.
Yeah, little dear tweeters or something, right? But she's 11 to 13. I know you wanted 11. But they made her. They wanted to make you make her 13. Why was that important to you to be 11?
You know, they thought that I wanted her to be very pre-sexual, because most people, when they have kids, they get to go through all their developmental phases again, kind of by proxy. They get to see how their kid is developing, and they recognize that moment that they themselves were at that age and made that decision, or had that impression, or had that misconception. I'm never going to have kids, ever.
You don't want them?
No, it's just not going to happen.
Okay.
So, by making a fictional child, I'm able to have that kind of reanalysis of my own decision-making process, kind of, the way I would with a child.
Through a dead child.
through a dead fictional child. That's as good as it gets in my life.
Were you trying to understand why it was important to people? Can you understand why you don't want kids?
Oh, no, it's not. It's a wrong road to go down. We're selling a book here.
This is how we sell the book.
Well, the other aspect of it is I wanted to write 3 books that would allow enough time to go by to mourn the death of both of my parents. My father died in '99, just before Fight Club was made, just before it was released. And my mother died as I was beginning to write Damned, the first book. And during this process, I spent a bunch of time with Max Brooks, who wrote World War Z. And I saw that he had dedicated World War Z to his mother, Anne Bancroft. And at some point when we were alone, I said, so is this really World War Z, this whole zombie apocalypse? Is it really about your mom? And he said, yeah, it is. Because cancer is the zombies. And we took my mother to one specialist after another who everybody offered a complete perfect idea and said, don't worry about it, go on home, we've got it handled. And every specialist failed, and every specialist led to another specialist who said, don't worry, she won't die, and then they failed. And in the end, cancer killed Anne Bancroft. And every 13-year-old boy out there who loves World War Z doesn't realize that it's Max Brooks' broken heart writing about that last horrible year of his mother's life.
Right.
And so in a way, it's finding that metaphor that allows you to kind of share your grief in this overblown way and to really exhaust it.
Your mother was going through that tough time, that painful process for you as well. And you're writing Damned, so you're researching it too, right? Were you reading a lot of demonology at the time?
I was. It was terrible. I had her dining room table stacked with all these books about hell and demons.
Jesus.
As she's dying in the easy chair, and that's how sensitive I am. I'm showing her all these pictures of demons saying, wow, look at this. In this culture, they think this.
But that's how you cope?
That's how I cope, by intellectualizing it all, yeah. And that's how Max coped. Ultimately, that's how, maybe it's just a guy thing to turn the real thing into something else.
Right.
But that's what you do.
Stick around, more right after this.
All right, so Chuck's all dressed up. I guess I'm going to make it even stranger. Don't go away.
All right, come on back in. Chuck Palahniuk. You know, you look so comfortable. I thought I'd put on my inner tiger. This is how I sleep. It is Halloween. Was Halloween big when you were a kid to you?
Orange is the new black. Yes, of course. Halloween was huge.
Especially with your mind, I can imagine.
It was like Christmas, but better.
What's the worst costume you ever went out as?
I have no idea. Sorry, that's a terrible answer.
They were all that good. What's the best you went out as?
Yeah, the best one. One year, my mother made a full-body Snoopy costume for me. I mean, this was her chance to shine. She just loved to sew, and so she would make us kids these really elaborate costumes that were almost impossible to wear.
You got some stories to tell.
An excerpt from Doomed.
Yes, please.
Okay. Gentle tweeter. If you ask my mom, she'd tell you that religions exist because people would rather have a wrong answer than no answer at all. Meaning, my parents didn't believe in God, meaning my family didn't celebrate Christmas. If my family ever imagined God, it was as a towering, mountain-sized Harvey Milk healing the ozone hole with winged dolphins in place of cherubim and rainbows. Lots and lots of rainbows.
Doomed is the book. It's so great to see you, man. Chuck Palahniuk, everybody. Strombo.com is our website for the full story. We'll be right back.
That's wild.
It's a Christmas story.